Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going on a journey together. We are going to dye my hair. If you guys have been watching me for a while, either on one of my previous channels or on my vlog channel, you know that I have probably had most natural hair colors under the sun. I have had extremely dark hair that was borderline black. I have had platinum blonde hair, multiple levels of brown in between, and I have ventured into the more unnatural colors when my hair was blonde on bits and pieces of my hair. I don't think I ever dyed my entire head a fun color, but I think out of all of the colors I've ever colored my hair, my favorite of all time was red. Deep down inside, I want to be a redhead so badly. I have wanted that my entire life. This is my natural hair color. I haven't colored it for probably a few years now. If I play in the sun enough, it actually pulls a little bit red, but I, alas, am not a redhead. But today that changes. We are going to make me a redhead. So like I mentioned, I have actually colored my hair red in the past. When my hair was red, I could not take a shower without it bleeding out a little bit. And I think that's a pretty typical experience for most people who are not natural redheads. But there is one way to get red hair and have it not fade over time. And that way is coloring your hair with henna. It is considered probably one of the most permanent colors you can color your hair, and that's actually exactly why I wanted to give it a try. I want the red hair back, but I don't want it to fade. That's where henna comes in. For those of you who don't know, henna is literally just ground up leaves. Henna comes from the plant called Lawsonia intermis. I'm probably butchering that name, but that's where it comes from. And it has been used for thousands of years for body art and to color your hair. It is not capable of lifting your hair color. You will not be able to bleach your hair with henna. It can only deposit color. So it essentially stains your hair. So you can't be super dark brown and color your hair with henna and be strawberry blonde. That's not really how it works. It can only deposit color. It can only stain your hair color. But because of that, it's actually a really healthy way to color your hair. Anyway, I have never colored my hair with henna before, so we are going to learn together. Let's get started.
So the henna that I'll be using today is by Light Mountain Natural. This is just in the color red. You can identify it because of the fox on the front. I personally got this henna off of Amazon, and I really like that because it comes in a 3-pack for like a grand total of about $15. I recently saw one package of this particular henna brand at a health food store, and it was going for like $8 a package. So I think I got a pretty good deal. This particular brand of henna is linked in the description bar below if you want to go check it out. But no matter what kind of henna you're using, no matter what brand, make sure you read the ingredients label because you only want one ingredient in your henna, and that is pure henna. This ingredient box only has Lawsonia intermis in it, which is pure henna leaf powder. That is exactly what you want if you are coloring your hair with just henna. Light Mountain Natural actually makes henna blends. So depending on which box you pick up from this particular company, you might notice that it has henna in it as well as indigo or cassia, all of which are completely natural dyes that are just prominent in nature and have been used for thousands of years to dye clothing and skin and hair. But in this case, because I'm wanting a red, I just want henna. And of course, no matter what henna you're using, make sure you read the instructions. Instead of water as the mixing medium, I will actually be using tea. This is because tea has a lower pH, it's a little bit more acidic. And because it does have a lower pH than pure distilled water, it will actually give your hair a more golden hue versus a more burgundy hue. I'm going for the golden hair look, so that's exactly what I want. But if you do want a more true red color or even a more burgundy or deep purplish tone, I've linked a couple recipes in the description bar below where you can figure out how to achieve that when you're mixing up your henna. I'm also squeezing the juice of a whole lemon into my tea just to add a bit more acidity, again for the golden tones that I'm aiming for. Then when I'm ready to go, I'm just going to mix my henna with the tea that I brewed. The consistency that I was aiming for was kind of a really thick pancake batter consistency, or like kind of stirred up yogurt. And then when everything was all mixed together, I just covered it with some saran wrap and pressed it against the surface of the henna mixture. so that way no moisture could escape. In order to activate and actually dye your hair, henna has to kind of sit and basically cure for a couple hours. I let my bowl sit for about 3 or 4 hours. Once it was done, I actually went upstairs and grabbed a little bit of leftover hair from my hairbrush and just applied the henna to it and wrapped it in a bit of saran wrap just to see kind of what color I was going to end up with. I let that sit in a warm place for another 2.5 or 3 hours and rinsed it out. I was pretty happy with the color that I was going to be getting from my strand test, so I went ahead and started to get my battle station ready. I laid down towels everywhere because henna is notoriously messy, and this particular henna recommended you apply it on clean, towel-dried hair. So I took a shower, I shampooed my hair, and I dried it just a little bit. I sectioned my hair off and I applied some lotion to my hairline and around my ears and on my neck, so that way the henna wouldn't stain my skin in those areas. And then I just started painting it on. Whenever I dye my hair, I like to focus on the roots because I find that roots are kind of the hardest spot to get for me. So I started with the hardest spot, which was basically at the nape of my neck. Little by little, I took tiny sections and painted the roots for just a couple inches or so down the length of my hair, and basically repeated that process all over my head. It's kind of hard to describe, so I just recommend watching this bit. When my roots were all done, I was not about to paint the entire length of my hair with that little brush. So I just put on some gloves and I went to town, literally plopping it on the length of my hair and running it through with my fingertips. It was much faster this way, and I recommend doing it that way. With the leftover henna that was left in the bowl, I kind of massaged it through my hair just to make sure everything was really super saturated. Then I wrapped my hair up on top of my head with a bit of saran wrap, wrapped it up in a towel, and I actually just went to bed, making sure that my pillow was covered with a towel beforehand just in case I had any accidents.
All right, so it is 10:30 in the morning now. I started the dyeing process at about 9:30 last night, and then I just went to bed. I tried to sleep on it, but it was so heavy and awkward on my head that I ended up getting a lot of neck pain as I was trying to sleep throughout the night. So I got up and took a shower and rinsed everything out at about 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. So the henna was sitting on my head, in my hair, completely saturating it for about 3 to 4 hours, which is plenty long enough to get color payout. So this is the color that I ended up with after about 8 or 9 hours later. The funny thing about henna is that the full true color of the henna itself and how it will stain your hair doesn't actually start to appear for at least a couple days after you dye it. So even right now, it's a little bit orangey in spots, particularly up by my scalp, because I'm sure my scalp got stained a little bit. The skin staining will fade after a few days, and at the same time, the color will develop a an even deeper color. So, like I said, this is a few hours after the dyeing process. This is the color that I've ended up with so far. We're gonna check in a couple days and see what the color looks like then. Okay, so this is a couple days after I have colored my hair. You can see that my roots are a little bit oily. I have not actually washed it with shampoo since I've colored it. I've taken showers since I've colored it. I've rinsed everything out with a little bit of conditioner and some just warm water, but I haven't actually washed it with soap yet, just because I wanted to make sure that the color was settling as it should. And I'll probably actually take a shower tonight with shampoo, and we'll see how the color payout is tomorrow. But so far, I'm actually really happy with the color payout. I love the color I have gotten so far. And my roots are definitely a lot less orange, which is fantastic. I even colored my eyebrows a little bit, which might look a little bit orange because I actually did them a day after I hennaed my hair. So there's still a little bit more orange here than there is compared to my scalp. But now my eyebrows match my hair, so I'm happy with that. We'll probably do one more update once I wash my hair so we can kind of compare colors once everything is complete. But this is after 3 days of not washing it, after hennaing it, and this is the color payout. Okay, so I think this is the final update for my hair. This is what it looks like after, I didn't wash it yesterday, but the day before yesterday. So it has been shampooed. My scalp is no longer a weird orange color. And I honestly really like the color that I've ended up with. It's a lot warmer, but it still looks pretty natural. I've noticed barely any bleeding in the shower at all. I think what I have noticed is just a little bit coming out when I was like shampooing it out for the first time, and I haven't noticed it since, which is amazing. My hair finally smells a little bit more neutral. Something that I didn't expect when dyeing my hair with henna was that it smelled a little bit like a barn for a little bit. It now no longer smells like a barn, which is amazing. Yeah, so this has been my henna experience, my first time dyeing my hair with henna. Like I said, I'm really happy with the results. You guys can feel free to follow me on my vlog channel, which is linked in the upper right-hand corner and also in the description bar below. If you kind of want to see the updates and how it looks from here on out in a more candid kind of way. Be sure to check out all of the resources that I provided in the description bar below if you want to also dye your hair with henna. I've linked the Amazon link where I purchased the henna that I used. Really happy with it, so I hope you guys will be as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!